Joel, we're back, and we are on another version of when employees do dumb things.
Oh, I got a doozy this time, Mr. Ray.
This one's extra special.
I got a call from a client. This particular client had told me that one of their staff members had dumped a gallon of stripper solution into a retention pond. So stripper solution is a combination of water, the chemical stripper for vinyl tile floors, but in addition to that, it was also the slurry that was created after stripping the floor. So there was the floor finish product as well, which includes zinc.
Oh, so it's in a retention pond.
In a retention pond and was not dumped down a slop sink.
So there's this glorious rainbow on top of the pond.
Yeah, pretty much, as well as it mixing and, and all of the aquatic life that's in the retention pond that is now affected.
That's going to seep into the groundwater.
That's going to seep into the soils that are in there, yes, the water. And it happened to be a facility, not that it should matter, but had, several cameras on the outside of the... So there was no question as to who, what, where, when, and why with time and date stamps and things like that. And it shouldn't matter because in the cleaning industry, we should be very transparent. Yes, there was definitely no getting around this because it was too late.
Can I ask a question about this, Joel? When your customer called you, the owner or their employee? I technically, I understand it doesn't make a difference, but I'm assuming employee.
It was an employee that had the issue. The owner was not on site for this particular job, and owner is typically on site, and the owner was not on site this particular evening when this happened. It was the owner who called me and said, "What do I do?"
What do I do?
Well, obviously you pick up the phone, you call your client. He did make the initial contact with his client before they called him. They said it was on their to-do list of things to do that day. So he did the right thing by calling them first and saying, "Hey, we had a mistake happened last night." They said it was a little bit more than a mistake. That was the first phone call. Then the environmental agencies have to be called and hazmat's got to be called, and they ended up having to pump the retention pond and haul all the water away and treat it and scoop up the soils and things like that as well to find out how far had it gotten.
Sure.
Thank God it was only like one day rather than weeks or months or years. Like sometimes we know have happened with like a leaky, underground gas tank or something like that. So it wasn't to that level, but he did not have the right insurance as well. So this was an out-of-pocket expense for him, which was right around $60,000 when all said and done. For companies that are out there that think, oh, I'm going to either, I'm going to cut back on, the insurances that I have. Think about your actual operation. What is it that you offer? Talk and have an honest conversation with your insurance agents as to what you're doing, how you're doing it, what are you working with, because all of that stuff really does matter. And we want to make sure that anybody out there that does any type of floor work understands you can't take a slurry and even throw it into a parking lot or down a drain outside. It needs to be carried to the waste treatment plant so that they can treat it and ensure that everything is correct and that all the contaminants are removed. It was... wow. Needless to say, a very costly endeavor. The owner had a hard time stomaching the fact that he didn't have the right insurance. He thought he was going to cut some costs and not have to pay for insurance. And now he might even be uninsurable. I don't know.
We're in a hard insurance market right now.
We're in a very hard insurance market right now. So something like that could actually cost him to have to close business or reoperate under another name and all new insurances and everything else because of a problem like this.
Can I hit the high points just to make sure that we've got this? We are dealing with poor insurance choices.
Correct.
Or improper insurance choices.
Correct.
The need for training. We've now had interactions with the EPA. I assume it's the EPA.
DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation.
DEC, okay, thank you. And then he had around $60K in costs, maybe fines on top of that.
That's a very fair assessment, yes. The fines have yet to be announced to him.
Sure. Wow.
And it goes back to the most key principle in our industry is the lack of training that sometimes happens to frontline staff. You need to make sure that it's done. You need to explain to people that this is how it has to be done. I don't care if the other way is easier. You have to do it a certain way because training now could potentially cost this person their business, their livelihood, and every person that works for that company, their potential job.
Right. Joel, it's a great reason to have a coach.
Without a doubt.
Thank you.
You're welcome.